Hey everyone, how are we doing? My name is Tim Pongres and this is Focus on Detailing. Today I'm lucky enough to be working on this true blue Aussie icon, a modern day muscle car, the HSV Maloo. Now it's going to be receiving the ceramic coating package, one of the highest detailing services that I offer, and I'm going to be taking all of you along for the ride. It's a newish purchase for the customer. They've brought it to me basically to bring it back to its former glory, protecting it with that ceramic coating sauce to help lock in that freshened up work. The paintwork doesn't feel too bad, but I can guarantee you when I put a direct light onto it, it's going to have some nasty swirls and scratches. It comes with the territory. Just so you know exactly what I'm talking about, you can see under these lights, it doesn't look too bad. But when I put a direct light on top of it, those nasty swirls, yeah, that's not ideal. We want to be removing the majority, if not all of them, as much as we can before laying down that protective ceramic coating. We want it to be on a fantastic surface rather than that unprepared, grotty surface, obviously. So hopefully, and I'm pretty positive, that we're going to get this thing looking amazing. The wheels aren't too bad, need a good bit of a cleanup, but you can tell that they live down a dirt road from all that dusty, dirty filth all over, well, not just the tyres, the rims, and the whole body. So that's essentially one of the reasons why they want it ceramic coated, basically to help with ease of maintenance. So we're all about that. Anyway, that'll do for the intro. That's enough talking. It's time to get right into working on this thing.
Like with most cars, I start with getting those wheels cleaned up. First off was a generous helping of a wheel cleaner of your choice. I'm using Bowden's own Wheelie Clean. Works really well, affordable, and easy enough to get from the auto store without ordering online. Ideally, this is to be done out of the direct sunlight. This is why I hadn't rinsed them down first. But here with the chemical alone, you can see a great reaction as it helps to loosen the fallout and brake dust over the wheel. I then rinsed it all off, and with it a lot of the loosened contamination. You can see how dirty it really was from the colour change. By no means was I complete, as I followed up with a helping of an all-purpose cleaner, now spraying over the tyre, wheel arch and rim again. This is where I could grab my utensils and begin cleaning it a little more thoroughly. From wheel woolies to a firm bristled tyre brush, then a soft brush for the face. It's a good idea to have a variety to get in and around everywhere, all of which being used with some soapy water to create a more slippery cleaning feel and avoid marking the rim. Once happy that I'd cleaned up everywhere that I needed to, I rinsed it down again from top to bottom. That rubber and rim was looking leagues ahead to how it was, and I was all set up to move on to the next. This process was obviously completed across all other wheels, and usually takes me around half an hour depending on how dirty or intricate they may be. They were some glimmery alloys under all that brake dust and dirt. I could already tell that this Maloo was going to be looking so good once complete. Now I'll be using Geon Snow Foam, a highly concentrated pre-wash that will help to emulsify the immediate mess. But before we go slathering that on, I use Bowden's own Bugger Off across the front. This bug remover is pH neutral and safe across all paint types, plastics and glass. The reason as to why I'm spraying it on now is so it can have a superior dwell time as it works underneath the snow foam, without fear of it drying from the warmer weather. Is this the only way it can be used? No. Is it just another way it can be used? Yes. I sprayed the foam everywhere and generously. You likely already know the deal as to why this process is undertaken, but it helps to break down the outer lighter mess, helping to prevent it from being collected later on in the wash mitt and or making it easier to clean off later. This process is most commonly completed with protected vehicles, as the less time you touch the car to clean it, the better off you'll be, as what you're doing is to help prevent adding imperfections such as swirl marks back into it. It's also a perfect time while the foam is doing its thing to use a soft brush to agitate and clean those hard to reach spots, such as vents, grills and badges. Now once it had been left to dwell over the car, I rinsed it down from top to bottom. The added force from the pressure washer here is even better to dispel of the foam and lifted mess to go along with it. This now sets the car up perfectly for the next step. having prepared 2 buckets, one with just water for rinsing and the other with a soapy mixture. Here I'm using Geon's Restart Wash along with a plush microfiber wash mitt. Working on a portion of the car at a time, I gave it a healthy wash, working in straight motions to collect any loose debris and dunking it in the rinse bucket once I felt it needed to be or once a panel was complete. This particular wash is more directed to coated vehicles, helping to decontaminate the protected surfaces, but it still will be a perfect fit here as it's a super slick shampoo that not only dispels of the immediate mess, but can also help in removing contaminants that we can't quite see. I rinsed it down as I completed a portion of the ute, leaving behind a superior finish and one that was all set for the next stage. This part of the detail takes me around half an hour again, but what comes next is a little more involved. Decontaminating was the next process, and with both chemical and mechanical on the books, I was going to need to get started. Using Geon's Iron, it was the perfect spray to complete the chemical decontaminating step. Spraying directly onto the still wet panel, it immediately began working its magic. As it rests over the car, it helps to loosen the ferrous deposits that we can't usually see. This is the more soft-handed approach to the decontamination step, but by no means less important. Everything undertaken here is to make the following process easier and in turn making the finished results superior. Usually, as with the wheels, the fallout would be turning purple, and although hard to see on this colour, there wasn't much of a reaction, but in this case, that's actually a good thing. Not because it's not working, as I know it does, it's because this ute has likely had a sheltered life. Still a necessary process for a car like this to make sure the surfaces are well prepped for the coating. This is all rinsed off once it had worked to dissolve any nasties across the car, and then that had this beast set up for the next step, the mechanical decontamination. First I moulded and squished the clay bar to make it more malleable. Then, using some soapy water for lubrication, began working in straight motions across a small area. I usually go for around half to a quarter of a panel depending on the size. This is just to make sure I'm getting every spot thoroughly, without moving on to the next and having it drying out. What's happening here is I'm collecting the more bonded or embedded contaminants, the gathering up within the soft clay as seen here from the grotty colour. When it does get like this, I simply fold it back over itself and I'm good to go again. If it gets too bad or if you drop it, you'll be needing a new clay bar to complete the job. It's slow, tedious work but very necessary. You'll even be able to feel the difference. If your paint has that rough feel, then a clay bar is perfect for collecting what's making that textured feel and leaving behind a slick, clean finish. Once every spot had been given the clay treatment, it was safely dried down with a microfiber towel. This big towel, called the AquaTouch Big Fella, is from Wax It. It can easily dry down a car in one go, and this Maloo is no different. This green beast was then pulled into the garage, and it was time for some correction action. I opted for Geon's cutting compound along with Geon's cutting pad. This combo was magic in removing heavier defects and finishing down to a highly refined level. An added bonus is that it had great working time, and it was very easy to remove all the residue once a panel or section had been completed. Starting with the bonnet, I worked within around a 60cm square area. This again is pretty slow work, but super rewarding when you take your time and consistently check over your work, just to make sure you're getting the desired results. The polisher I'm using here is a ShineMate EX620 Pro. It's a fantastic DA polisher that's easy to use, super effective and affordable. Big bonus with the pad I'm using is that it's not overly firm. Some cutting pads have little softness, and though they have their place for the heavier defects, but this is slightly more malleable and can work in better with the curves of this vehicle. Now, even after the initial cutting stage, the side-by-side comparison was a great indication of how it will be looking overall, and this is exactly what we're after. The cutting stage took me around 5 to 6 hours to complete, and once done, I jumped to polishing with a lighter compound to finish the correction work. I decided to go with Shoal Concepts S30 Plus along with an orange HDO polishing pad from Lake Country. See, I didn't use G on there, it really threw you off. This process was undertaken in the same way as before, but rather than disposing of the heavy defects, we're refining down our work. Dueling the paintwork, if you will, and correcting micro-marring installed from the heavier cutting step. But there wasn't that much of it here, if any at all, so what we're going to be doing is bringing about a more brilliant glow. This is one of my favourite polishes. It does have the ability to correct a lot of defects, but it's such an easy polish to work with. Little to no dusting and an absolute breeze to buff clean. And when it comes to the last stage of correction, that is exactly what we're after. But even if we do our best to remove all that residue, there still might be some that's still not so visible, although the next steps will help make sure that surface is exactly where we need it to be for coating. Firstly, I rolled it back into the wash bay and got ready for the next stage. Within the Geon Flash Coating pack, you have 2 degreasing tablets. These are dissolved in boiling water, then would be added to a bucket of clean fresh water with nothing else. I rinsed down the entire car to dispose of any polishing dust, and then working with a very soft wash mitt with our new mixture. The degreasing mix will leave the car stripped clean and free of oils that may be left behind. This glides across the surface, and a good thing too, as we really wouldn't want to be marking our freshly corrected paintwork. After this, it was all rinsed off for the final time and dried with a clean, soft microfiber towel. I could then bring it back into the garage and undertake the final prep step. Using Geon's aptly named Prep, I sprayed it onto the surface and using 2 immaculate microfiber towels began cleaning each panel. One would be used to spread the spray and the other to buff the surface clean. Prep has some strong cleansing properties, and before you say we might be going over the top, you must understand that these processes are key to make sure that coating is being laid onto the best prepared surface possible, to get the most out of the looks, longevity and overall performance of the coating. Speaking of, it was time to bring out that special bottle. The contents of this magic little 30ml bottle was dripped onto an applicator pad and gently spread over a panel or section at a time. Due to its fast flash time, hence the name I believe, you can buff it off almost immediately after application. This also makes it ideal for the mobile details and is actually directed for them. Again here I'm using 2 immaculate towels, one to collect the immediate residue and the other to buff to an immaculate finish. Something as simple as this though still requires a bit of a knack. The first towel should be used in small circular motions, as this will and still can spread the product over the surrounding areas. We want to avoid this. And the second towel is used on the higher pile side in a sweeping fashion and in larger circular motions. Flash is an extremely easy coating to use, but don't be fooled. Like any coating, you must keep on the ball and make sure every spot is buffed clean to avoid high spots. The performance and the looks that it creates is amazing, up there with the pro level stuff. In terms of longevity, it can last from 3 to 10 years if properly cared for. That means routinely upkeep with spray coatings and or sealants, and safe cleaning, as we're now looking after the coating, and that coating is going to be looking after our clear coat, plastics and rubber. This was done in about 1.5 hours and it was hot work, but the results were amazing. The finishing touch is everyone's favourite, and that's blackening those wheels. Now I give you the finished results. This Maloo was a joy to work on, and although in pretty good condition when it came in, it's leaving in a state that I'm happy with. That green looked amazing and now protected too. Hopefully the owner is happy to see their ride in such a freshened up state as well. And on that note, I'm going to be finishing up this video. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. Take care and I'll catch you all later.